Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here, and we're going to be looking at some 25 speed poker hands I played on Triple Eight Snap format yesterday. For those of you who watched my video at the end, or one of my videos at the end of September, you would have seen that I put a £200 bounty on my head for playing these games. I took that bounty away yesterday because I've just got such a thirst for learning at the moment, and in my usual soft games that I play, not enough of the hands are like available to go into the analyzer because so much limping, so much cold calling, etc. Like I played how many? I think 2.5, 3,000 hands yesterday, and I've got 36 hands to review this morning. And I just couldn't get that volume or that number of hands if I played on like the softer site where there's lots of limping, lots of cold calling, etc. I still am an absolutely enormous advocate of game selecting and making sure you're in soft games. I'm not advocating for anyone to play speed poker. These games are absolutely dreadful, like they're diseased, um, but they're not unbeatable. They're just rubbish games. They're not a lot of fun, but what they are, they're really good for people like myself at the moment who are really wanting to drill down hard. I'm just going through like an enormous, probably one of the biggest growth spurts in my game in the last 10 years in terms of just wanting to just like get in there, play hands, review hands, learn new lines, massively retool my entire game. I haven't felt like this for a long time about poker, so I need to capitalize on it. So the bounty is off. I don't intend to play these games long term, of course, because why would I? They're rubbish. But for the what I'm trying to achieve over the next few weeks and months, I think keeping these games as part of my grind, mostly for like improvement purposes rather than profit purposes, is just a really good idea. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the hands. For those of you who haven't seen these videos before, we quickly run through the hand, looking what I did do, seeing if I would do anything differently away from the table, because sometimes we don't always take our A game to the table. Speed pressure, pressure from that different tables. There's reasons why we don't play our A plus game at the table. Hopefully, when we're doing these reviewing hands, I get more things right with my thought process, and then we're going to double check what Theory would have done versus what we did. That's how the format's going to work. We've got 35 or 36 hands to get through. This is going to be over 2 or 3 videos, I imagine. So it's all going to be good for me getting some content out in the next few days. That's 3 minutes of waffle. Let's go. We have jacks here. We have well, not enough hands on him, but what looks like some kind of reg opening in the under the gun position. We 3-bet the jacks. I think we can call here too. It's not a mandatory 3-bet. If we looked at the blinds, neither look like especially likely to squeeze. 6% 3-bet here from this guy playing 1k hands, 15, 13, grow up son. And then this guy, 250 hands, 23, 18, 8. So I think we're not super likely to get squeezed here. So we could definitely have put some flats in, but I decided to 3-bet this time for whatever reason. And villain calls. Flop comes down 7, 7, 8. And at the moment, I think I've learned that when we have overpairs on these dry flops, we're meant to go bigger with our C bets. I think that's what I've learned. On paired boards, like 7, 7, 8, I don't know if that stands as true. If this was like 8, 4 deuce or something like that, I'd be much more confident in the we just bet pretty large here, it's really hard for villains to fold a pair on this board. Even if it was like 8, 5 deuce or something like that, they're still going to have to call large bets with pocket sixes if they get here with this spot, having got them under the gun. All the under pairs that haven't improved, basically, like 9s, 10s as well. So I think we're meant to go big here, but we're going to check. I do end up going big. Villain calls. Turn isn't a brick, really. I mean, 10-9 gets there, and that's definitely possible. 10-9 is definitely like opening under the gun and calling at some frequencies. That's definitely possible. Obviously, 8's full's possible. 7x, probably not as likely. So I don't think it's a terrible card. It's just one more way we might be beat with like the 10-9 and maybe the pocket sixes. Villain checks again. The question is, do we continue betting for value? Or is it starting to get too thin? And if we are betting for value, what size are we going? Those are all very good questions to which I don't. I can't confidently answer those questions. Um, I think I was playing this hand again. Now I will probably bet again, probably in the region of half pot, but I wouldn't really know what to do here. And if I had like aces and kings and things, I'd be a tiny bit more confident because then villains can have more like jacks and queens in their range. When we've got jacks, if we had aces here, for example, we get value from jacks and queens. When we got jacks, we don't get value from either of those hands. Um, so I think it does make a difference. Let's see what I did. I went with a small bet. We went called, and then we rivered a boat. So obviously river is just going to be a jam. And villain did call. Okay, right. I presume villain folded there for some reason. And villain had pocket queens. So I swear I didn't remember this. So when I was talking about having kings and aces and being far better than jacks here, that's why. And I swear I don't remember this hand. Um, but yeah, that just very much proves the point that aces and kings is a way better value bet on this turn than jacks is because of the presence of jacks and queens in villain 63's range. So let's see what GTO Wizard thought of our line there. For some reason, I'm getting this message. Something went wrong. But I've just tried to upload the next hand that we're going to be reviewing, and that uploads fine. So for some reason, this hand won't upload. I don't know why. So fortunately, we can't actually look at this one. So let's just get on with the next one instead. Ace King of suit. Villain opens under the gun. We 3-bet the Ace King. Villain 4-bets us. And this is where I'd normally go into this thing here, and we'll be looking at villain's 4-bet after raising. He's 4-bet 3 times out of 3 after raising under the gun. That might just be because he just raises very tight under the gun. Maybe it's because he thinks his range is so strong he just gets to 4-bet everything. I don't know. I don't recall looking at that at the time, to be honest with you. I just recall being a little bit horrified with the situation because usually under the gun 4-bets in any form of poker are just incredibly strong ranges. I don't think people are finding some of the bluffs they're supposed to find, which we'll discover what they are when we analyse this hand. I'm not going to be rushing to get this in here, I don't think. Under the gun versus cut off, I'm just not going to be rushing to get this in. I'd be surprised if I'd put it this way, I'd rather fold here than 4-bet. Than 5-bet, sorry. I'm never in a rush to 5-bet ace king pre in this exact configuration. I think 5-betting is a punt. I think it's a pretty big punt too. Now GTO might like 5-betting here. I don't. Not in these games. Not in the micro stakes. I did call. We flopped ourselves top pair. So now we're going broke. There's no way all the money isn't going here. If this guy wants to put all the money in, we have to go with him. But at least we've got a piece now. Villain checks. I mean, this board's really dry. Can we get away with checking here? Try and hope like reignite any bluffs Villa might have. Are we more likely to get paid from a hand like pocket queens if we check a street, or do we just start betting small and building the pot? Don't know. I think both lines could have merit. I ended up betting small. Villain called. Turns break. Check. I think once we bet this flop, we think we just keep betting. I think my current strategy here would be to go somewhere around 1/3 and then shove rivers. We do. And then villain folds. So let's see what's happening here. So we've only got 1 tick for this. Never mind. And that's because of pre-flop and flop. So pre-flop we 3-bet. Undergun 4-bets. It just wants us to go all in here, like 70% of the time. I'm not willing to follow that advice. I'm just not willing to. Let's have a look what villain's meant to be 4-betting here, and let's ask ourselves if we think the micro-stakes population are finding these 4-bets under the gun. And maybe they are. Ace-8 suited. No, probably not. I don't think. Ace-7 suited. Probably not. Ace five and ace four suited. Yeah, I suspect they're going in there sometimes. To be honest, king ten suited, king jack suited. No. Ace jack, ace ten suited. No. And that's not to say they're never finding them, but at this frequency, ace jack suited, four betting 60% of the time. Have a day off, son. Ace ten suited, four betting 50% of the time. No. King jack suited, four betting 71% of the time. No. King 10 suit is not even in there as a four bet, in my opinion, for most players. 53%. No. King Queen suited. See, no, so you get the picture. No, just fucking no. It's not happening close to enough with these hands. It wants to jam because, if we jam pre, I guess, like we just denied quite a lot of equity. Yeah, not interested, mate. You're drunk, GTO. Well, you're not. GTO isn't drunk because it's finding four bets. Um, this would not be applicable in the games we play, in my opinion, unless we have a specific read that a player, is finding those four bets. If they are, then we revert to, GTO strategy. If they're not, then we just do what we think's right, and which I thought was call in this instance. Villain checks. We're supposed to check back here most of the time, and then when we bet, basically, I chose the second lowest frequency bet. We're supposed to go even 10%, which I can get on board with. I have no issue with that. I think 10% will be fine here. Can't look at me talking like I know better than GTO. Shut the fuck up, Rich. Move on. And then as played on the turn, it does want our size. If it wants quarter, we went 1/3. It's a very rare spot. We're not going to be in this spot very often where we call a four bet in position and we flop top pair, top kicker on a king eye dry board, and then villain doesn't range bet. It's such a rare spot that we don't need to be like, oh fucking hell, I remember this for next time. We were on the right lines with what we were doing. Bet small flop, which is what I did. Continue small on the turn, which is what I did. That's enough, really. I mean, this spot might not come up again for a few days or even longer. So yeah, it's nice that I'm giving myself a pass on this. Pre-flop, we only got one tick. I think what we did was fine. Flop, we didn't quite get the size right, but we got the frequency right, and we were on the right lines if we want small bets here. And then turn, we wanted small bets too. So overall, really happy with the result of that one. Move on to the next one. Here's King off again. 29.19. I've got him tagged as a fish because A is not reloading, B is 29.19. In a regular table game, this guy's probably playing in excess of 30%. So for these games, he's a fish. Same as this guy here, 27.15. Not fishes in the games I play. In these games, these are the fishes, these people. This 22.13 guy too. These players are the fishes. These are the ones who are basically keeping the pool running, these types of players. We 3-bet to 14 bigs. Villain calls. We flop. I do remember this hand in terms of like thinking, I'm not sure what our sizing should be here because like villain maybe has pocket fours. He's opened the cutoff, so maybe he has pocket fours in range. He definitely has ace queen in range. I think ace queen just flats here quite often. Probably has ace four in range too. But we have all those as well. We have like every combo he's got apart from pocket fours we have. But we also have pocket queens, which he maybe sometimes four bets, and we have pocket aces, which he almost always four bets. But I wasn't really sure, like, what size to go here because there are worlds where, well, how do I want to put this? I wasn't as confident in my like, how do I want to put it? I'm struggling for the words here because I don't want to say something fucking stupid. I think we're very likely we have the best hand, but if lots of money goes in, I think it can be quite likely that we don't have the best hand. So right now, I just think we probably have like what 70% equity here. But if lots of money goes in, I think that equity very soon comes down to being too thin. I think if too much money goes in, this might be too thin, basically. I guess that's what I'm getting at. But we have a decision to make here whether to bet or not. And because the board is like, we do have like set of queens, we do have a set of aces, we have ace queen. I think we probably just have to bet big. but then we get ourselves in some pretty uncomfortable turn spots. So maybe if I'm uncomfortable betting big, maybe that's an indication that we don't always have to bet here. I don't know. I did end up betting big, and Villain folded, but I'd be interested to see if we are betting big there. I hope there's some checking there because I was really thinking I'm going to bet big, but I wasn't comfortable doing it. So let's see if my apprehension was right or if I was just being a big ghost blouse. Well, we've cocked up somewhere, and given that we know pre-flop isn't a cock up, it looks like we have cocked the flop up. So maybe my apprehension was correct, and maybe it says a bet smaller or just don't bet at all. We'll soon see. Um, yeah, our bet was way too fucking big. It wants check 40% of the time and small, very, very small bets. Um, so yeah, I'm glad my instincts were right there. And again, I've learned something. Now, if this board was different, if this was like Ace 8 4 Rainbow, I think we probably do switch to having larger bets. Let's just double check this. If we change this Queen of Clubs to and say an 8 of Diamonds, or even better, a 9 of Diamonds, so there's no straight draws present. Does it change our strategy much for the flop? Yeah, we're only checking 15.8% of the time, but we're still having like small bets. Probably because it's like ace X, and we have like kings, queens, etc. in our range. Interesting. So where am I getting this? How we must always bet big. Probably when we got over. I think it's when we got over pairs on like dryish boards. So we like made this spot up again, but instead we're going to change the board completely. So just bear with me a minute here, please. So say this board, we're going to change the entire fucking board here now. It's like a really dry flop. We're going to have it like 10, 6, deuce, rainbow. Do we then switch to having bigger bets? Doing a lot of checking on this board, but when we do bet, we're betting bigger. So yeah, I'm misapplying a few things, which is fine. I've no problem with that. It's why we're doing this. I was very apprehensive firing this bet out, and it's turned out it's quite a big mistake. Well, not a big mistake, but it's not something we should be doing. Well, I suppose, yeah, big mistake, I suppose. Check our small bets. So I was apprehensive about betting big here, but I forced myself to do it, and I actually forced myself to make a mistake. So yeah, good stuff. We are learning. We are definitely learning. We're getting better. My instincts are slowly being like rehoned, retooled, and um, yeah, even though this is a mistake, it's a different type of mistake to what I was making. I actually like this spot. I played worse. I would have played better. Old Reg would have played this spot better than New Reg because Old Reg would have just bet 1/3 here on this flop, and maybe even checked sometimes. So New Reg has like made this has like butchered this spot a little bit, but it's made up for in other places where New Reg is actually playing stuff better. And I shall now stop talking about myself in the third person because I'm not Alan fucking Shearer. Another ace king. Reggish looking player who, right, okay, you're not getting that. You're getting this colour, aren't you? Because you're not reloading. But you are. Fuck it, you can say that colour for now. Yeah, anyway, he opens. Cut off. I just talking to myself there. He opens middle position. Sorry. Right. Okay. I don't think this one's going to be doable then. We're obviously going to squeeze here. Squeeze the 13 big blinds. Should maybe go a touch bigger than that. Button calls again. Jack 3-5. We just check, and I think I should, without question, rage bet this. I was just worried about his like call range on the button being like very pocket pair dense. That just wouldn't fold. But we have like 2 overs, so our pair draws are probably going to be quite good. Backdoor straight, backdoor flush. Not happy with this. Think we should still have bet. As for what size we should have bet, I think with that backdoor equity and what have you, I think maybe we could even just check call here, but then maybe some small bets. But again, I don't know because it's not a particularly common spot where We're up against a button that's gone call pre. So not at all well drilled in this spot. Anyway, villain just like masterly overbet, and we have the easy fold, of course. I'm not sure if that hand's even going to let us do it because it's gone like maybe it does because it's like still a GTO spot, isn't it? Open, call, squeeze, fold. Maybe it does let us do it still. So it is letting us do it. It's just due to stack depth. This guy's only got a shite stack. That's why. So raise pre. Um, Flop. We're checking 41% of the time. We're doing various different bet sizes up to half. So check or bet small was my thought process here, and that's turned out to be true. And then the rest of it just plays itself. We check. He goes all in. We are meant to call here, like third of the time. I don't think I like that, to be honest with you. But we're supposed to. But anyway, again, another one that I'm happy with. We're improving. We can definitely see anyone who's watched this entire series through so far, they'll be able to hopefully see the improvement I'm making, and I can definitely feel it. On to the next hand. Open from hijack. This defend could be too wide. This could be too wide. Probably is too wide, but we'll find out. We call. We flop trips. Check. Bet 1/3. Raise pure. I would think. We do raise. About size, I don't know, but raise pure. Villain calls. Turn. Bought. And this board's changed because 7/6 has got there now, which villain might not have, but the board has definitely changed. So I would just pure 9x is probably a little bit less happy, but obviously we've got a full house. But I'd be interested to see if we do any checking after check raising this flop on this turn card, and if we didn't have a 4, if we had like some other 9, and also what size do we go? Two interesting things. As played with a full house, but because the nuts has changed, I just don't think I want to go really big here. Maybe like 3/4 pot, maybe a bit of checking and some 3/4 pot. I go with 3/4. Villain calls. River breaks out again. And he's given his call twice now. I think just big bets on this river. Maybe some check raising, but probably not. Probably just big bets. I go with the biggest of bets, which might be greedy. This might be greedy. Villain folds. Oh dear, we have the red circle. We have a red circle situation that is far from ideal. And we're A-okay until the river, and then I guess we're just too greedy. River, so we just dash through this because we know we're getting double ticks the whole way. Flop, check. Yeah, check raise size was really good. Turn, nailed it on the size again. Happy days. And river, it does not want all in. It wants basically mix in between like half pot and basically 3/4. So what am I learning from this? Why aren't we going all in? What is the difference in villain's calling range here on the river between 3/4 and all in? That's what I want to investigate here. So we get to the river. Big blind checks. When we use this size, villain is calling, still only calling 3.5% of the time. Why is it calling A7? Fuck knows. I don't know. I'm not going to even pretend to understand this. But when we go all in, it's calling not that much less. Yeah, I don't understand, to be honest with you. I'd need someone cleverer than me to explain this. It seems like, like I mean, how's he get into this river with like a lot of these hands? Are they going to make a difference? Like these hands that are folding that get to the river. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. So we go back to this. I guess like when we go, we give triple eight. We give like 8-6 a chance to randomly bluff jam. Whereas when we go all in, just no, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not seeing it. And if I spent another 20 minutes on this, maybe I'd start to see it a little bit. But we are trying to make a video. But yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, we shouldn't have gone all in. I get that. And we should have gone smaller size to allow GTO to do some weird shit. But I think in practice, I'm not too bothered about this. If like we're meant to, when we look to the difference in the calling ranges, I think basically in these games, like when we got this far, we're just hoping over pairs call, which like GTO doesn't have. I don't think does GTO have over pairs in this spot. Does it reach river with over pairs? Doesn't look like it fucking does. They're just not there, are they? Aces aren't there, kings aren't there, queens aren't there, jacks aren't there. Whereas I think they probably are there in reality. Yeah, I don't want to waffle too much, but even though I've got told off for this one, I'm not losing a lot of sleep over it. Next hand, pocket queens. Yellow is my tag for like harder to play against reg. Usually it means like they are three betting more aggressively, like wider ranges, and they are like slightly more like steel happy. Like if we compare these two players, at 23-18, 22-20, not a lot of difference between that, but this three bet drops off a little bit here, and he's like, if you look at his stats by position, 13, 28, 35, 30, 30. It's just they're just different players. They've got the same, or very close to the same, like pre-flop stats, 22, 2011, 23, 18, 8. Not that much difference really, but big difference in terms of like this region here, the small blind and button region. Quite a big difference. Now over time, they might get closer together, and one of these guys might change to the other colour, but that's why we're differentiating at the moment. We're going to three bet queens out of the big blind. Villain is going to call. We're going to get a pretty dry flop, and again at the moment here, I know what my strategy is. It's just big bets. We'll check if that's correct on this board texture, or if anything changes on this board texture. I guess villain has like set of jacks here, probably very close to, if not pure. Nines, very close to, if not pure. Threes, I mean, if he's opening three, maybe he's got them, but we did make it 13 bigs pre. I guess he maybe, no, he doesn't have Jack 9 suited. He might. In theory, he doesn't have Jack 9 suited. In practice, he might. So maybe this isn't a board to go really big on. Maybe we just go smaller here. Again, same as the earlier one. If we had aces here, I'd be much more comfortable going big because then villain can have queens. But I guess because we got queens, we unblock like ace jack, king jack quite a lot. I don't know. If only anyway. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if this wasn't always a big bet spot. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this was like some checking and some smaller bets. But I'm happy with a big bet strategy at the minute. Until I see enough examples of where I shouldn't be big betting, I'm happy to just continue generally with the big bet strategy with overpairs on boards where the overpair is still an overpair. Yeah, well said, Reg. That made fucking sense, didn't it, you moron? So we're in one tick land here, which I'm fine with. We three bet because so it wants check 32%, and it wants half pot. But we want big more than it wants small, so that's something. We're still on the right lines where we didn't want small with what we're doing. Even though I did doubt myself a little bit here, I'm not overdoing the big bet. Half pot. It's not a size I'm used to seeing in three bet pots. So again, here you're going to quickly look at the difference in villain's continuing range between half and 3/4. Versus 3/4, cut-off's calling range looks like this. 52% of the time he's calling versus half pot. They're calling 60, so we just get more calls from a slightly wider range, I guess, which obviously makes sense. So, so theory here is wanting to capture more calls from the 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8 region. Yeah, if you look at like switching here between the two, if you keep your eyes on like 8, 7, 6s, and 5s here, when we flick between the two, like 7s doesn't call at all, and it calls half the time versus half. 6s and 5s drop significantly in their calling frequency. So interesting. And if from our perspective, what's ace is just checking this flop, king is just checking this flop. So we are having some action. So we are checking some strong hands on this flop here. Because I wouldn't have checked aces and kings here. Not in a fucking hang on, I'm in the wrong fucking place. Ignore me. I'm being a moron. I'm being a fucking moron. Shut up, Reg. Shut up, Reg. You fucking idiot. Aces is actually half pot and similar sizing structure. Aces. Kings. Similar-ish again. Actually, queens is doing more betting than kings because it's just a bit more vulnerable. Top set isn't betting very often at all, which makes sense. Ace queen off, which is another hand that I read quite frequently, is responding similarly to overpairs. King jack, which is another hand that I've quite frequently here. Yeah, similar. So yeah, I'm on the right lines. Happy with that. Move on to the next one. Ace queen, open button. Big blind 3 bets. We can go a few ways here. Against certain villains, I wouldn't mind 4 betting. Against this guy, 17, 13, 5, I don't like 4 betting at all. I don't even like calling as much versus this guy. He's such a fucking monumental nit. I wonder if we could just like exploit fold this against someone playing these stats. What's his big blind 3 bet versus button? 3 bet versus button open. 1 from 30. I think this just be a massive exploit fold. In theory, it's not a fold, I wouldn't imagine, but against this guy, probably fine to exploit fold this. We call 3-5-3. Villain bets 1/3. Again, against this player, maybe just exploit fold. We call. Turn to 10. Villain checks. Do we now start bluffing ace queen against this guy? Or is he so scared of his own shadow he's just checking too many strong hands? I don't know if you heard that pump, but maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's just like in there shitting his knickers now. We're like, oh, shit, I've only got 1 pair. I don't know. I think maybe we can just like block this in position though, which is what I did. Villain folds. I think I'm going to get told off for that one, but I think I need to go to the toilet before we continue analysing it. Which you didn't need to know, of course, because I could just have paused it and you wouldn't have known I'm about to go for a shit, but now you know I am. So, anyway, turns out we've not played this one very well. We raise button 3 bets to an inappropriate size. Now, calling here and raising are not, I mean, in terms of like the EV values you can see on these games, it doesn't seem very high EV. And then if we factor in his, like, so far 3 bet from the big blind once versus button and his overall nittiness, maybe this just slides into being a fold. As an expert of this player, not against other players, but as an expert against this player, I think folding would have been just fine, barely making money to call, even versus like a proper range. Anyway, he c-bets, we have to call. Turn 10, he checks. Yeah, we're just supposed to check back. Okay. And especially maybe against this player who might just be like desperately trying to get to showdown with like jacks, queens, kings, and just not wanting to bet them again because he looks a very, very timid player. So yeah, all in all, maybe just fold pre against this guy when we get a chance to check. Maybe just check back. Um, I know what was happening in game. I was just thinking, just get him making fold ace king reg, making fold ace king. He probably doesn't even fold ace king versus this bet. No point even looking at it because it's such an not even gonna look at it. But yeah, that one wasn't my finest style, but it wasn't terrible either. King queen suited. Fishy guy opens. We 3-bet from the small, but I think we can have some flats here, especially with that sort of massive nit in the button. I think I could have flatted this, and maybe against these types of like weaker players, maybe we don't mind flatting so much and just playing flops with them. Yeah, interesting. I think we could have flatted this. Anyway, we didn't. We looked called. Jack high ball. We got king queen. We got 2 overs. We got backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. I know I'm betting here. Whether we're meant to or not, I don't know. Think probably not big bets. We're starting to learn that now. Maybe this is going to be mixing between check, 1/3 and half here. Maybe I do go with 1/3 or thereabouts. Villain min raises. What is this? No idea. I mean, just call because of all that backdoor stuff we got going on. Turn 5 of clubs. We check. And bets half pot. We just call and get there, I guess. And then we don't get there, then we check and it checks through. And villain had. I mean, what is that? Who knows? That's why he's got the green tag. It's why speed poker's bad because this player's clearly shit at poker. It doesn't matter how badly I played the hand or not. We'll find that out in a minute. This player is clearly incredibly shit at poker, but because it's speed poker, instead of VPipping 45, he's VPipping 29. This is why speed poker's bad because it makes fish play tighter. Anyways, let's actually get on with analysing the hand. So we've got a non-existent GTO spot, which I presume is going to be his fucking flop min raise, but who knows? No, turn's non-existent apparently. So pre-flop, we only get 1 tick, so it prefers calling. I like that. I like that a fucking lot. Anyway, flop, check half the time. Doesn't like small. Doesn't like 33. It just I thought this might want to mix between small and 50%. It actually wants to mix between check and 50 and 75. So fuck you, Reg. But it is mixing between bet and check. I would just have got a sizing error had I bet smaller. Oh, sorry, when I did bet smaller. Yeah, this is just like, what is this fucking? To be honest with you, I did contemplate 3-betting here because, like, what the fuck is this guy repping? But he's a fish. I was like, who knows? Anyway, we did just call, and then the whole hand's a massive clusterfuck from here, and it's just like, yeah, do whatever. But now it's actually saying go all in, Reg. Even though we're in an non-existent GTO spot, this is a blunder just calling, apparently, which is supposed to be just all in. Don't know if I like that. Versus a fish who's min raise, flop and barreling turn. I don't know I like all in. Yeah, don't know. That hand's too fucked up for me to worry about. Let's move on to the next one. Pocket 8s. Open cut off. Fish button flat. Get to a flop. Flop a set. Ace 8-4 rainbow. I think as a rule here, I'm just playing checks and small bets, mostly checks, but maybe against a fish, I'm just going to bet big. I go with the small bet. Fish raises. I guess against a fish, we could just 3-bet right now. It just like punishes ace X that's raising and forces it to put more money in. I don't think Theory is going to want us to 3-bet very often, but who knows? But I think I like 3-bet here against a fish. I didn't do it this time though. Jack on the turn, villain we check. Villain now bets half pot. I mean, we need to start putting money in this pot. A lot more money. Do we need to raise now? There's not a great deal of urgency against ace X. It's just if we check, then he just gets to check back the river a lot, which isn't fun. Whereas if we raise here and he calls, we get to win a big pot, maybe. But I don't like raise. I like raise in terms of building the pot, and this guy might have an ace. In theory, I don't like raise. In theory, I think raise is probably quite bad here. In practice, I suspect he's probably the best play against this player. Do go with it. He calls. River deuce. Obviously now we're all in. And he folds. And we've got another blunder, which is unfortunate. Pre-flop, obviously 2 ticks. Flop, wants to check 80%. I mean, that's pure as far as I'm concerned. Bet, check. And then he just wants to call now and not raise. Yeah, we're butchering this one, aren't we? But again, let's view my butchering of this hand in context of we're against a fish. We're not against a reg or like an opponent we think is approaching anything close to like playing good theoretical poker. So let's not beat myself up too much. Turn, we check, he bets. We're supposed to raise sometimes, but for a bigger size. Fuck me, we're supposed to bet. We're supposed to raise big, aren't we? Just didn't like our size there. And then river's just a massive blunder. He wants us to after check raise turn. He wants us to check again on this river. Are you pissed, GTO? Are you pissed? Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not having this one. Against human opponents, check raise this turn and check this river. I don't think I like it. Yeah, fuck you, GTO. Don't care about that one. I think I did fine against the villain type in question. And the fact you're giving me a bollocking matters not one jot to me. So, right, this player, why isn't this player tagged? How am I going to tag it? 27-21, 8-3 bet. Go yellow for now, but he could be purple. He might be shit, this guy. He might be really good, I'm not sure. In fact, looks like he might be on the verge to being really good, actually. This hand, I think against these like players who look like they're out there fighting for pots, maybe we can just fold this hand versus cut off open versus button, definitely 3-bet versus cut off. I think we're probably going to 3-bet this, but I don't think it's going to be. I think Theory might fold this sometimes. Let's see how it, let's see what goes on. Anyway, we do 3-bet. He calls. We get a pretty fucking miserable looking flop for our hand. In terms of our sizing here, if we do bet, probably not big. And I think we're probably not going to bet very often with this hand at all. So I think having a very heavy check strategy is the way to go here. We do check. He bets. Even versus this 1/3, I think we might do with the backdoor straight. Or maybe we have to tear one off here. Turn break for our hand. Check. Bet. Fold. Okay. Well, we have all ticks, which is good. Pre-flop, yeah, there is some folding. Not a lot, but there is some, but it's mostly 3-betting. I think we can maybe shift that slightly, but still it's just a 3-bet. You know, even if we are like, right, this play we think might be quite good, do we really need to go into battle with this guy with a hand like ace jack? But it's 3-betting so frequently that we just can't. We can't dog it. We've got to do it, which is what we did. Flop check. He bets. We can just fold 75% of the time here. And I was like kind of thinking like, we should probably fold now, but because we had the backdoor straight draw, I decided not to. That's probably not enough to justify calling. I mean, we're folding 25% of the time. He actually prefers raising over call. Significantly prefers a check raise here over call. I don't like the idea of check raising this in these games against population. So yeah, I'm not going to do it. Anyways, that's 45 minutes. We're not going to get through all these hands because I've got another like maybe 50 odd minutes before I need to go. Before I need to go out. So we're going to make this into a 2-part video and not get through them all, but it doesn't matter. I've still had like an hour and a half of practice. I got an hour and a half of content out of it. It's really good. It's what I'm like really pushing myself to do. Not necessarily for the content, that's just an added bonus. Mostly just for me getting into drilling these spots. So yeah, we're not going to get through all the hands I've tagged, but never mind. It's not a big deal. I can do the rest of them privately before I start my next session. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you have got this far and you haven't liked or commented yet, please do. And yeah, catch you on the next video, which is just going to be following on from this. Take care and bye-bye for now.